Hi, Stephen Sutherland here. Welcome to Spirit Week. We are thrilled that you are joining us. Today you are in for a treat because you get to understand how you can be involved in Ride Don't Hide 2022. And so have a listen to this awesome podcast hosted by James Wellsman, and he's interviewing a bright and energetic person. I'll leave it to you to think about who that might be, but enjoy.
You're listening to Wellbeing Connection, the CMHA Manitoba and Winnipeg podcast. I'm your host, James Wellsman.
CMHA Manitoba and Winnipeg acknowledges that we are on Treaty 1 territory, the original land of the Cree, Ojibwe, Dene, and Dakota peoples, as well as the homeland and birthplace of the Red River Métis. The water we drink comes from the Treaty 3 territory of Shoal Lake 40 First Nation. Our electricity comes from Treaty 5 territory. We acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past and dedicate ourselves to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of truth, reconciliation, and collaboration.
None of the content in this podcast is intended to replace the advice given to you by your medical team. If you are in crisis, please phone the Manitoba Suicide Prevention and Support Line at 1-877-435-7170 or text CONNECT to 686868 for the Kids Help Phone.
Ride Don't Hide is a chance to move more, give back, cope better. Ride Don't Hide is the largest mental health bike ride in Canada. Over 10 years, thousands of people rode millions of kilometers and raised millions of dollars for community mental health. Ride Don't Hide 2022 is your ride, your way. In June 2022, thousands of riders across Canada will come together to move for their mental health and for their community. Ride Don't Hide isn't just a fundraiser, it's a movement for mental health. Listen on to hear from those who are making this ride happen. Hey listeners of Wellbeing Connection, if you were a listener last year, you know all about Ride Don't Hide 2021. Well, you're in for a treat today, folks, because we have Stephen Sutherland, who has been working so hard to put together Ride Don't Hide 2022 for all of us. So welcome, Stephen.
James, it's great to be here today and talk about Ride Don't Hide 2022. We are thrilled that we are doing something in person. We haven't done an in-person event for a number of years due to restrictions here in the province of Manitoba, but we're really, really excited that not only do we get to be at the Forks and connect with our community, but we have the opportunity again this year to partner with the other branches, other locations in our province. So our friends in the central region, in Swan Valley and in Thompson, everybody's coming together for this awesome event, that takes place in just a few short weeks.
Yeah, that's excellent. So what is Ride Don't Hide 2022 all about? So we may see the fundraiser, we may see the ride, but what's the story behind it? What makes this ride so special?
Well, I think what makes it special is the people who participate, the people who are putting teams together. Again, like you've mentioned before, the idea of moving more and giving back, stressing less and coping better. And what we really want to do is continue the conversations that we've been having, rich conversations that we've been having around mental health and well-being, and really helping people reduce the stigma, but also come together for a common purpose. And so Ride Don't Hide is all about raising funds. It's our signature fundraising event that we do every year. Last couple of years, we've done a virtual event and we've done our Spirit Week. And again, we continue to do a Spirit Week that starts June 20th and goes to the 25th, which are really excited about. So each of the branches that I've mentioned will be putting a video together. People will be able to access that on Donor Drive and participate. But most importantly, James, I think Ride Don't Hide really allows us to really think about how we want to participate in the conversation. So whether we're on a bike, whether we're volunteering, whether we're cheering someone on, or whether we're giving our money, we want people to to choose how they want to really participate in Ride Don't Hide. Now, we want to raise a ton of money. It's a fundraiser, right? And so again, the money that we raise goes to youth mental health. And so all these amazing programs that happen here in Winnipeg, we're really, really excited about supporting those.
Absolutely. So I know that when we talk about these programs, it can be hard to put a face to all of it. But, going into schools today, I was in a high school today and just hearing some of the impacts that these youth mental health programs have. We were talking about Bounce Back, and a guidance counselor saying about how they've made a few referrals to Bounce Back and how incredible that's been for youth. So do you want to expand upon where are these funds going? Like what are these going to be helping out? We know youth mental health, but what does that encompass?
Yeah, so I think one of the great things about youth mental health is we're always trying to pivot and adapt and innovate. And so as we think about the programs that we already have in place, like Thrival Kits, going down to, checking it out at thrivalkits.ca, going to our website and searching for Speak Up and that mental health promotion program. Huddle Broadway has opened its doors. I know we were talking about Huddle, the Youth Hub, which is named Huddle Broadway. They have tremendous needs, servicing an amazing, mind-blowing number of participants. You mentioned Bounce Back. I think part of it is, how do we get the word out? How do we, continue to partner with amazing communities, amazing community agencies who have the same values and vision, and really have that pulse on what is happening in youth culture. And so again, we want youth to be able to participate and for there to be no barriers. So when I think of Futures Forward, where people are aging out of care and they're looking for housing, they're looking for schooling, they're looking for post-secondary, they're looking for jobs, these are programs that are practical in nature. But one of the things that we don't get funding for is being able to promote and put these programs on the map. We often say we're the best kept secret in Manitoba, and we don't want to be a secret. And so it's great that you asked that question in terms of where do these go. You can go to CMHA's website. You can learn about all the youth mental health promotion programming and services that we provide. But more importantly, this allows the teams and the diverse teams to, again, provide services that are inclusive, that are, wrap around, that are really relevant to what young people are experiencing today.
Excellent. Yeah, it's so incredible to see where all these funds go. And, I saw a student just at a booth the other day explaining how they'd been through the Futures Forward program and how they were going to university, and they were so excited to be connected with these supports. They've learned to advocate for themselves. These are all the impacts that these funds are going to have. And so it's super important that you get involved, not only for the youth that these funds will cover, but also for yourself. You're going to learn how to cope better through some of our Spirit Week events, and it'll be some really life-changing stuff for you. And so I'd love to bring this up. So our good friend and mental health champion, he's Brandon Friesen, will be doing the 330 ride this year. Can you explain to listeners the significance of this ride and what it means for Canadians as a whole?
Yeah, so 330 is, a call to action that, we came up with last year, where we know that CMHA is a federation, so we have 330 different locations across our beautiful country, from coast to coast to coast. And, with that in mind, it on average costs just under $330 for people to access community supports. And so then we thought, gosh, it'd be really great if we were able to put, a number like 330 together in terms of kilometers in biking. And so last year we had a team of 4 head out from Selkirk, Manitoba to Hecla Provincial Park and back. I rode with them, but I was in a truck. They were on a bike. And it was so inspiring. It was a really an amazing testament of people's resilience. And again, Brandon got on a bike a number of years ago in response to creating connectivity with his mental health and well-being during COVID. And so Brandon, along with his brother Jordan, are going to be doing our 3:30 ride from Selkirk to Portage la Prairie in our central region. And so we're really, really excited that that's going to take place on July 17th. So Sunday, July 17th, Jordan and Brandon will be trekking out there, and I'll be following them in a truck again. And again, what we want to do is promote the importance of not only mental health supports that are out there, but the strategies of what we can do every day in terms of getting out there, and whether it's walking or biking or running or skidooing. I'm surprised we don't have any snow on the ground still here in Manitoba. It's what a horrible winter it's been for many of us, and now with the flooding. But the folks in the central region in Portage are really, really excited about how this is going to really allow them to pivot and do some really great things with their community and the people that they support. So we look forward to providing more information of what that's going to look like. Again, people can go to ridedon'thide.com/Manitoba, click on Winnipeg and on Central with more information to follow in terms of the 3:30 ride.
Excellent. Yeah. And so you bring up some of the other regions as well. So people outside of Winnipeg may be wondering how they can get involved and what's available for them outside of Winnipeg for Ride Don't Hide and Spirit Week. So can you expand on what those events might look like at some of the other branches?
Yeah. So, our friends in Swan Valley, they've had their event already. They were able to partner with a community event and super successful. Their donor drive continues to be open, so people can still go there and be a part of participating. Again, part of what we want people to learn is that they can continue riding and raising funds for their team. We're going to keep the portal open for most of the summer this year. We started Ride Don't Hide a bit later than we typically do for a lot of different reasons. And so we want people to be able to have the optimal amount of time to participate. Folks in Thompson, again, going to Donor Drive and clicking on, their tab to find out what they're doing. So each of the locations were participating together individually, but together on Spirit Week. So each one will do a video that promotes some aspect of, maybe it's bike safety, maybe, it's stretching before you get on a bike. We often, think of our that afterwards, gosh, it would have been really handy to stretch before. Bike safety, and, what do I need to be able to safely ride a bike where I decide to ride a bike, whether it's in on a trail that's marked or whether it's on a road or a highway. How do I go about doing that? I know for us here, this podcast is a part of Spirit Week. So we're really excited for people to really kind of get the essence of what Ride Don't Hide is, but also look about putting a team together, and I think this is where, our friends at Central are really excited. This is their first Ride Don't Hide participating in. And so they're really excited about putting an office team together against their board, right? So that healthy competition, which is really great. So when I was talking to Teresa out in Portage last week, she was really, really quite excited about, how can we have, fun while, continuing these important conversations and raising funds that, again, stay within these communities. So funds that are raised in Thompson stay in Thompson. Those in Swan Valley stay within that region, and Central and Winnipeg alike. And so I think, there's lots of opportunity for people to engage. And what's great is people can follow us on social media. They can post pictures. I know for us here in Winnipeg, when we finish Spirit Week on the 25th, we're pivoting really quickly into a physical ride at the Forks. And so at the Forks on the 26th, we start registration at 8:30 in the morning. People, that have ordered a shirt, they'll get their shirt, they'll put on their shirt. And then we have our marshals from Bike Week Winnipeg who are going to take us on 2 different types of rides. And again, you can find out all this information on ridedon'thide.com/Manitoba. Click on Winnipeg, and then you'll learn about the going the distance ride. So those that they are a bit more comfortable on a bike and they can do 20 plus kilometers, take you 45 minutes to an hour to complete, and again with really well conditioned and folks that understand doing these rides. These marshals are like fantastic. Then we have a family ride of 6 kilometers where we're really just going around the forks. But what's happening with that is we have some folks that will be playing some tunes. I know that there's going to be a bubble machine, helping guide us. Who needs these pylons when we have bubbles? We can just follow bubbles and stuff. Yeah, and then people get to come back, after that family ride, decorate their bikes, be able to take in some of those tall grass cinnamon buns, that we'll be having there. I know we have some great coffee being provided by Starbucks, so it's just another opportunity for people to really have those conversations and talk about why they rode and why they're participating. And so we're excited about staff coming, the teams that are coming to participate. It's not too late. So this is the other piece, right, is we want people to say, it's not too late to sign up for Ride Don't Hide. It's not too late to continue to raise funds. And you might say, oh gosh, Stephen, James, I tried to do that last year. And, I had so many competing priorities and life got so full and I just didn't finish what I wanted to finish. And we say, hey, this is a great opportunity to try that again. And whether you're raising $10 or $10,000, we're just excited about the sponsors that have come to back this. So we have Talbot, who are an incredible friend of CMHA, help support travel kits and the work that we do with the resources in those kits. And so we're excited about those. Our nutritional sponsors, Co-op, again, coming to the table. And again, you get to go and visit our website, theridedon'thide.com/Manitoba. I think I've said that about 10 times and I'll continue to say it.
We'll have it in the link below too.
And so when you go there, you'll hear and see all our sponsors, but most importantly, you're going to be inspired by all the teams that are there. You're going to see some teams and the names of teams. And, when you click on those, you're going to find out why they're riding. And I find that just super inspiring. Again, 2.5 years ago when we had our last physical ride, it was so fun to walk around. And some people had bandanas. They had their own kind of swag that they were wearing. But you would hear these stories of why they were riding. And I remember this one family, there's something special that was happening with this family, and they had these bandanas, and it looked like there was somebody's name that was printed on there. And so I asked, one of the team members, tell me about this person. And it turned out that this was their son who a month prior had died by suicide, 19 years old. And his family was not from Winnipeg. They were from out of town in the Morden Winkler area, came in for Ride Don't Hide because they wanted to celebrate his life. They wanted to honor his life. And they couldn't think of a better way of coming out, reducing the stigma, and having a conversation about their son, their brother, and the girlfriend was there as well, of just really wanting to honor this young man's life. So yeah, there's some tear jerkers that happen with the ride, but there's also just a celebration of people coming together, riding for a purpose, and doing something together. Like when's the last time we were able to have 100+ people together and do something with great purpose. So I'm pumped for the opportunity that we have.
Yeah, it's a really cool opportunity. And last year, I did the ride virtually, and I was participating in yoga. So this was something that was really important to me, where I'd always wanted to learn yoga, but I had never quite committed to doing so. So I went ahead and started it. I love breathing exercises, meditation. And so the next logical step, right? You always hear people doing yoga as well. So that was my ride last year. This year is going to be a bit different for me, as I'm not able to physically ride on the day of. I will be able to, in the week before, I will be making some goals around dancing. So I know dancing is always something that brings my mental health up. I notice that if I'm feeling well, that's the times when I end up dancing around my room to whatever music I'm listening to. So this is a good connection to my wellness. It's all about building that reserve of coping strategies so you can cope better through Ride Don't Hide. And yeah, this is just a super exciting event, and how lovely it is to be reconnected with Brandon, to be able to have his 3:30 ride. We have pictured on this episode art for today, we have the picture from last year showing the triumphant finish of the 4 bike riders who completed their 3:30 ride, and it was just such a celebration. So we include that just to help you realize, like, these are the triumphant and extraordinary things that you can do, no matter how small or how big, whether it's doing a 3:30 ride, whether it's just sitting down and doing 10 minutes of yoga a day, because that's about my limit ever since I tore a muscle a few years ago. So yeah, it's just really excellent stuff we've got going on. Stephen, what are you planning to do for your ride?
Well, I'm going to be there in person, and so part of my role there is, to make sure everything's functioning and operational. And so I look at myself as a cheerleader. I have a team that I've put together this year, really, honoring my brother, who has had tremendous. He's had a really, really hard go with the last couple of years, with having a stroke and a couple of heart attacks. He lives with schizophrenia and is an amputee, and he loves Ride Don't Hide. And so the last physical ride at the Forks, he was there with his wheelchair, his electric wheelchair, and did the family ride, and it was just so great to see how excited he was. And unfortunately, has had some major medical issues where he's not able to see any longer, and so won't be able to attend. He's in hospital, and so what we want to do is really honor his desire to ride. And so I've invited family and friends and coworkers and neighbors and whomever wants to come and join my team, and so they so people can do that. So yeah, so I think for me it's really about why I ride, and what we want people to do with the teams that they create is, why are they riding, maybe as a team, but why are you riding individually? What's your story behind mental health and well-being, and promoting that and reducing the stigma and continuing those conversations. So again, I love when we're able to ask those questions about why you're riding, or how are you moving more, and how are you stressing less, and how are you coping better. And so whatever that is, just Ride Don't Hide really allows for these opportunities to create connection. And we know that Ride Don't Hide is upon us when, if you go past 930 Portage Avenue, you'll see our rainbow bikes. It's Pride Month, but it's also Ride Don't Hide Month, right? And so we have our bikes up, and it was really great. Just the other day, we had a pit stop with Bike Week Winnipeg, and we had a classroom of students from just across the way, Greenway School, come and ask us about, Ride Don't Hide, and why do we have bikes up on our roof, and what do you do there at the Canadian Mental Health Association Manitoba Winnipeg office. And then staff were coming because, again, our friends at Starbucks were there passing out coffee, so people got word, right? And so they were coming, and then the students were able to ask staff, what do you do, and why do you do this? And we asked students, what is stigma, and it was amazing to hear these young people really know what they were talking about, and how they want to help others that are facing mental health challenges and stressors, and find those coping strategies at work. And their teacher, who had gone to the pit stop in the morning, said, "Hey, can I bring my classroom?" And we said, "Absolutely, this is great." So we stuck around for a little bit longer, and we had a 15-20 minute conversation with 20 students, and it was just Absolutely incredible. So this is what happens when we have this sort of movement. You're right. It's more than just a fundraiser. Although I want us to reach our $100,000 goal in Manitoba, we have a $70,000 goal here in at our location, Manitoba Winnipeg office.
Yeah, and so we encourage you, as you create your teams, create a team of 10 people, including yourself. This is what we really encourage. Just gather your people around, set a goal of $3,300 as a team. That's $330 each. And so this is, again, that can help 10 people receive the medical or the mental health care that they need across all over Canada. People all over Canada are receiving these services. So it's just really important stuff. I think about why I ride as well. And the reason I ride is because of my personal struggles with mental health. And so having been there, having gone through depression, anxiety, negative life experiences, I'm turning it around and making it a positive and going, how can I give back? How can I help others? And so we've created a team this year, my team downstairs, the youth room platoon, and we're so excited to ride together and to really make this something that's really impactful. And so I encourage you to join your teams as well. I'm going to be asking my team why they ride. You never know the stories you might hear if you just ask.
Absolutely. It's amazing when you give yourself permission to be a part of the conversation. And so here at CMHA, we give out, the Ride Don't Hide mask, right? And we tell people to wear the mask, and people will see me out and about and they're like, what's Ride Don't Hide? And then I will take off the mask if they feel safe and then talk about Ride Don't Hide or put a pin on and, just really be an ambassador for it. But again, like what I was mentioning before, our team name is, Riding for Hope, honoring Alvin, and it's so cool that when I was talking to him the other day about the ride, he's like, Stephen, can you go to my apartment and get my shirt? I want to wear my shirt on the 26th, and I think, whatever you decide to do the week of the 20th to the 26th, what we want you to consider is inviting people who are champions and advocates and ambassadors for mental health and well-being, and invite them. The third party, the peer-to-peer fundraising that we do, it can only happen when we do it together. It's really hard to be a team of one, and so it's not impossible, but it's hard to set those goals and build connection within your network when it's just one of you. But when you invite others, so it's super cool to hear what you're doing with your colleagues in the lower level of CMHA here, but others, and our board. Our board has set a goal of $25,000 that they want to raise. We have some other businesses like Wawanisa who've put teams together. Our friends at MGEU have put a team together. So we encourage businesses to do that. Our hope is that you'll have our mayor at the event. He hasn't missed one yet, and so we're really excited. No pressure, Brian, if you're listening to this, but we're really excited that it is a community that comes together, and we cannot, stop promoting the importance of not hiding, because some people are like, what's this hiding thing about, and it's really about saying, gosh, I ride and I speak up and I speak out in terms of what I might be experiencing, my own living experience, but those that we support in our families. And if anything, COVID has taught us that we all have been impacted by COVID, and our mental health and well-being has certainly been one of those things that's been impacted. And so how do we, just even share, what has this ride meant to you? And, this is what I'm hoping to do next year. But again, we have the opportunity to have Spirit Week and Ride Don't Hide Plus throughout the summer, and Brandon and Jordan doing the 330 ride is super, super excited. And I know that on social media, you'll see more information to come with Brandon sharing, his thoughts. He's super excited. He's not with CMHA anymore. Boo, we're sad about that, but we're excited that that he's at Blue Cross and continues this legacy that he's left of being able to ride with a real purpose and goal, of those kilometers. It boggles my mind that someone's willing to do that. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think of my own injury that I had, swinging a baseball bat a few years ago. All of a sudden I can't quite sprint anymore. But if I was to do a 3:30 ride, that would take so much training. I can't even imagine what's involved. So it really shows how much this personally means to Brandon, as well as to all the people that he's thinking about when he's going to do his ride.
Yeah, and the 3:30 ride last year raised well over $6,000. And so, again, when we think of where this money lands in terms of providing services, one of those services that I forgot to mention is, when we think of Huddle Broadway and we think of, the aspects of programming, our Discovery College, so the Learning Center, that peer-to-peer, work that happens, the peer support that is so necessary with young people. They don't necessarily want to hear from a clinician or to hear from somebody who might over-pathologize something. They want to hear from people, and you and your background, as a peer support, person, being able to talk with somebody who is relatable, who maybe speaks the same language, all of those sorts of things. Young people will have the opportunity to continue those conversations and begin those conversations maybe for the first time, and they actually see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you everyone for listening today. Go and sign up and create your team of 10 people. If you can't get up to 10, that's all right. Well, at least you tried. And so then we can go into Spirit Week and Ride Don't Hide on June 26th, feeling prepared and feeling like we're really part of this big movement for mental health. So thank you, Stephen, for your chat today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to Wellbeing Connection, the official podcast of CMHA Manitoba and Winnipeg. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review. Thank you, Stephen and Brandon, for the work you do to make this event a true highlight. To find out more and register your team, check out the episode description and links below. Until next time.